In this video, we're going to continue moving through this conversion process. So let's go ahead and start by bringing over another function from notes functions to notes.js, and that is the remove note function. So this one already existed. We can just take it, copy and paste it over to notes.js. I'm going to go ahead and put it as the last function in this file. And we don't need to make any major structural changes to this. It's already correctly looking for notes. We're using find index and splice on that array. It's taking in the ID to remove as the argument, which is all good. The only change I am going to make is that I am going to call save notes right here after splice. So save notes. And this means we're only calling save notes if we actually remove something. If this condition fails and this code never runs, there's no need to put save notes down below because we won't actually be saving any changes. So in this case, we're only calling save notes if we actually end up removing an item. Now let's go ahead and actually export this so it can be used by other files. Right here, remove note is going to be exported, and we can go ahead and test this one out over inside of index.js. So at our current state, we have exactly 3 notes in local storage. We're going to go ahead and grab one of their IDs and use remove note over here. I'm going to import it, remove note. Then I am going to comment out one of the console.log calls and the call to create note. And right here, we'll call remove note, passing in a string ID. Let's go ahead and grab one. You can grab any of the IDs for any of your objects. I'm just going to grab this one right here and paste it into the remove note string argument. Now I had 3 items in local storage before. After this code runs, I should just have 2. I'm going to save index.js, and what am I getting? I'm just getting 2 items there, which means that this one item was removed successfully. If I was to go ahead and type in an ID which doesn't exist in the array, like 1, I should expect to still see 2 items since none should have been removed. And there we go. We can see that the remove note function is working as advertised. Now let's continue on with another easy one. Inside of notes functions near the bottom, we have our sort notes function. This one is going to get copied and pasted into the new file. So I still want this functionality. It's directly related to that notes array, and there's actually only one small change we need to make to it. So let's grab all of the code for that function and add it over in notes.js. I'll add it as the last function in this file. And the only change we're going to make has to do with the function arguments. Currently, it's expecting an array of notes to get passed in. This isn't needed anymore since we have notes in scope. They live up above on line 4, which means that we can remove that first argument, making sort by the first and only argument. Inside of this function, yes, we still rely on notes to exist, but it does. It doesn't need to get passed in as an argument. We have 3 notes.sort calls, which are all going to work. Down below, if you don't sort by a method that we know about, we just return the notes, and this is still going to work as well. So there we go. All we have to do for sort notes is actually export it right here, sort notes. The last function we're going to add in notes.js is going to be one that doesn't exist already. This one is going to be called update note, and it's going to give us an easy function-based way to update a note's title or body or both. So currently, over inside of the notes edit file, which I'm going to move over here to the left with the other old files, we update notes by manually setting note.title, then note.updatedAt, then saving things. And we do the same thing down below when we're trying to change the body. This is fine, but it ends up with a bit of duplicate code, making life harder than it needs to be. What we're going to do is create a function that allows this to all happen with one easy function call. Over in notes.js, let's go ahead and set this up down at the bottom. Const update note, and update note is going to get set up to take 2 arguments. So the first argument we're going to take is the ID of the note that's trying to be updated. The second argument we're going to take is an object called updates, and this is going to take various properties that you might want to update. We're going to support 2 properties on updates, title or body. Let's kick this function off by creating a const called note and just getting the correct note. So I will use notes.find to find one object in our array of objects. This one is going to take that callback function where we get access to the individual note we're currently iterating over. And all we're going to do is return either true or false. Right here, does note ID equal the ID passed in. So if the note that we're currently looking at has an ID equal to the one passed in, we found our match and we'll get that object here. If not, we'll get undefined. Now we only want to run the rest of the actual function if we found a match. So if we didn't find a match, we can actually just stop the function in its tracks. If, right here, there is no note, what are we going to do? I am just going to use return to return undefined. This is going to prevent the rest of the function from executing. That means the rest of the function from here on out only executes if we did indeed find a match. Let's go ahead and start by verifying those two properties. We're going to check if title was provided and if it was a string. If so, we'll update it. Then we're going to check if body was provided and if it was a string. If so, we'll update that too. So right here, we can kick things off if I'm going to set up the condition, and this will be for the title. If the type of updates.title is indeed equal to a string. So if on this object we have a string for title, we're going to go ahead and assume that is something they want to update. So I will set note.title equal to updates.title. I'm also going to go ahead and update the updated at property, making sure that stays in sync as well. So right here, note.updated at, like we've done plenty of times before, we're just going to generate a new timestamp, exactly what we've already done up above in create note. I'm going to call moment. On there, I'm going to use the value of method. Perfect. So that is the title update knocked out. We can do the exact same thing for body if the type of updates.body is indeed equal to a string. What are we going to do? I'm going to set note.body equal to the new value stored on updates body. Once again, we're just going to set updated at. So note.updated at equals a brand new timestamp, calling moment and using the value of method. Perfect. So at this point, we've updated that note object. And what are we going to do? We're going to call save notes to make sure that change actually gets saved. And there we go. We have an update note function in place. Let's go ahead and export it down below and actually test things out. Update note. I'm going to save the file and I'm going to grab one of the IDs for the two notes I actually have. I'm going to go ahead and update this first one with the ID that starts with 6C. I'll grab that ID. I will head over to index.js and add the correct import. So right here, I am going to import update note. Then down below, I can go ahead and just comment out the remove note call. I'll still leave the console.log in place. Right here, we're going to call update note. I am going to pass in as the first argument the ID of the note I'm trying to update, and the second argument is going to be the updates object. So I might just want to update the title to my note title, for example. That would get the job done. I could also add on body if I wanted to update both at the exact same time. This is the body for my note. Perfect. Let's go ahead and save things and see what happens. Over in the browser, we still just have two notes. That's perfectly fine. And we can see the first note, the one with the ID we actually changed, does have a body of this is the body for my note, and it does have a title of my note title. All of this is successfully being saved to local storage as well, which we could prove by commenting out our update note call. Now our program is just going to read data from local storage and actually print it. And if we dig into the object, we can see right here, I still have the correct title and the correct body showing up. So while this process took a bit of time, we now have a really nice interface for working with the notes. You can do anything you'd want to do with just these 5 functions. Now, before we actually integrate this any further with the real application, we're going to make one more file very similar to notes, though a lot shorter. This one is going to allow us to manage our filters. So over inside of the source directory, let's make a new file, and we're only going to add about 15 lines of code to it. We can call this one filters.js, and like with notes, we're going to start off by defining something. For notes, it was a variable notes whose value was an array. For filters, it's going to be a variable filters whose value is an object, just like the filters object we set up over here. Now, the values on it are going to be the same too. We're going to have search text, and we're going to start that off as an empty string. And we're also going to have sort by, and our default value for that was by edited, one of the values that we set up. Now all we're going to do is expose just a couple of functions allowing us to get the filters and manipulate them. Getting the filters is going to be as easy as getting the notes. Const get filters equals a function, and we can just use the arrow function shorthand to return filters. Perfect. We can export that. Export inside of curly braces, get filters. The only other thing we're going to need to be able to do with filters is change them. So we're going to set up a function for that as well. Right here, we're going to create a new const, this one called set filters, and this is going to be an arrow function, but we are going to take in arguments, the actual filter values we want to use. Now we could set up search text and sort by as two separate arguments, but I'm going to stick with the updates object approach and just create a single argument where we can provide both of those. Down below, we can now set this up. So just like we did for update note, we're going to check if the type of updates.search text equals a string. If it is a string, that means the data is valid, and we're going to go ahead and use it. So right here, we will set filters.search text equal to the value passed in on updates.search text. Awesome. Down below, we're going to add a second if statement to do the exact same thing for sort by. If the type of sort by, not sort by, but updates.sort by is indeed equal to a string. That's great. We're going to go ahead and use it right here. Let's set filters.sort by equal to updates.sort by. The last thing we have to do in this file is actually export it. So we only need these two functions, set, filters, excellent. Let's go ahead and test things out by moving over into index.js. In here, we're going to need to do a couple of things. I'm going to start by commenting out all of the calls we have already just to simplify the output in the console. Then I'm going to go ahead and load in the two functions that we just created from the filters file. So import get filters with a capital F, of course, and set filters. And we're going to go ahead and grab both of those from /filters. Down below, let's go ahead and actually use those. So I'm first going to make sure my default values are working, console.log, just dumping whatever comes back from get filters. Then I will take that line and copy it, pasting it once down below. Right in between, I'm going to go ahead and try to change the filters by calling set filters once again. I'm going to call this one with the updates object, and I'll try to update both search text and sort by. So right here, we have search text. I'll set this equal to a string. Let's go ahead and use something like office. Then I will also set sort by, and I'll set this equal to by created as opposed to by edited. Let's go ahead and make sure things work. I'm going to save index.js. The browser should refresh in the background. The first time around, we have our default values showing up. The second time around, we have the values from our changes correctly being processed by our set filters call. Now, both the notes and filters file are complete. Both of these files have everything they need to be integrated with the wider application, and that's exactly what we're going to knock out in the next video. It might seem like we have a lot more work left to do, but actually setting up these two modules was most of the heavy lifting. We now have a structure that's going to work well with our application using JavaScript modules, and I couldn't be more excited to actually integrate both of these into the real-world app that actually works in the browser. So let's go ahead and jump right into the next one.